Okay. Um, so it's been a bit, hasn't it? Um, I guess I should start by saying that, hi, it's me again, that dark energy guy from MauradingMence, the creator of the Adventures of Wario and the thing that makes people laugh a lot and stuff like that. Um, so, uh, we're just gonna get right into it on this of the big question of where is the Adventures of Wario? Um, well, to be completely honest with you guys, it's frozen. Um, what I mean by that is that I am in a situation where I am unable to finish this episode. Um, you're of course also probably I'll get more into detail on that, but you're also probably wondering why aren't there more Adventures of Wario shorts or something like that. Well, the problem with the shorts is that those things were designed for me to animate something on a whim if I came up with anything that I wanted to do a short animation on. And immediately after Waluigi's Rusty Chevrolet, I got writer's block on that, which is terrible timing, of course. Um, which, um, which I do have in my head an idea of possible idea of something I could do as a short here before long. Um, but we're not going to worry about that one right now. The more important thing is that is the situation involving episode 5 of The Adventures of Wario, which I started production on that. Um, when was that? Oh gosh, it gets even worse when you think about how long it's been since you started it, since you start something. It was started in the middle of 21, and that was like, what, like 5 years ago? Good grief, I'm seeing a track record with these episodes. Okay, so to get down onto it, I was hard at work on this episode, and I'd gotten a lot of it done. And it's not to say that I don't want to keep working on this series. I would like to, uh, but something happened that halted the episode's production, which was completely out of the blue. And you just can't plan for these kind of things. A very important model that plays a big part in the climax of the episode was lost from my file system. Um, it was a workshop item that got removed, and normally, Source Filmmaker, whenever a workshop item gets removed from the workshop, it will basically tell you, hey, this model is no longer available in the workshop. This is going to be deleted from your system. And normally, when it does that on models um, that I need, I usually tell it no, not right now, and I always plan to get it off the file system, get it off of the workshop folder as fast as I can, and put it into the user folder so I still have it. Unfortunately, um, I wasn't able to get to that in time. And so somewhere along the lines, when booting up Source Filmmaker, the software crashed on me, and that model got removed from my system, which completely halted the project altogether. And mainly because, to be more specific on details on what model this is, it is a model of Bahamut that goes unused in the Mario Sports Mix game on the Wii, and Here on screen, I'm showing here. Here's a screen cap from the scene that from the scene that this character is supposed to appear in, and um, there's multiple characters writing on his back, and so with his accidental loss from my file system in the animation now, there's a group of six characters writing on nothing because that model's gone. And um, when this happened, um, I I thought to myself, okay, I'll just halt production for now, and I'll wait and I'll see if the model comes back or not, and then I can resume production. And well, I waited and waited. This model still hasn't come back, and I had basically forgotten that I was waiting for it because it wasn't coming back, and I forgot about production of the episode, and so it's just been sitting there gathering cobwebs for a while. Um, and in the meantime, I've been working on stuff that honestly to me is actually a bit more important to me, which is my art, which is my drawings and comic strips that I work on. Um, and uh, I have wound up into forgetting about the episode altogether for a while. Um, I went back and checked the workshop like last year when I made Rusty Chevrolet. Well, Luigi's Rusty Chevrolet. Still nothing. So I thought, okay, I'll get back into it by just doing shorts until I can figure out what to do about this model. To be completely honest with you guys, the adventures of the adventures of Wario episode 5 was supposed to be done 2 years ago. And that was roughly about the time that I lost that model. And some some of you might be wondering, why not just use a different dragon or something like that, or or just export the model yourself and put it back in there. Well, it sounds simple on paper to do that, and I thought about doing that. But the problem with that is that there's already so many animations in the episode that this Bahamut model is tied to, and if I was to replace him with another dragon, I would basically have to go through far much more time than it would be necessary for me to take to basically mount this model onto Bahamut's existing animations, especially his since it's still a rig that's there and not just the separate bones. But at the same time, I can't just simply bulk parent all these bones together and then just move them all into place because then the model's going to distort because each armature is different between different models. And so we'd have like either a stretched out dragon or we'd have one that was basically committing some unworldly contortions like in Paranormal Activity or something. And I could try to. I've thought about the possibility of trying to export that model, well, convert that model myself, but the problem is that I don't have the time anymore to be working with 3D models like I used to, mainly because I've got a full-time job working for the state, and I only have enough time these days to work on my my comics and my drawings. I don't have enough time to fit that stuff in with long-term projects like making models and stuff like that. Now, this begs the question of like, do I want to continue working on the adventures of Wario? I would love to, but I don't want to scrap anything because I sunk a lot of time into the climax of that episode. I was actually working on the climax first before, well, actually not first, but because I've already got the intro working on. I was working on the beginning and the endings of the episode um, at the same time. And I mean, like, I could have kept working on the episode, but it's kind of hard to when you lose a major asset like that. And it's just hard to get back into it when stuff like that happens. So, without beating around the bush, I would love to get started back to work on this episode and get it done because then I could be able to start working on it again whenever I had the have the time to. Um, and if I did get back to work on the Adventures of Wario, it would still take me a long time to get these episodes out because I know there's like other big channels out there that do animations and stuff like that. Like let's use SMG4 for example. They were coming out with episodes bi-weekly and like 4 or 5 times a month. And then sometimes they were coming out with episodes in between the releases. That's simply because that studio or YouTube channel, whatever you want to call it, had like a full entire team. For me, I'm just one little guy that I come up with the ideas for this stuff. I basically write this stuff myself and I animate this stuff myself. And so, I mean, like, it's easy to think that, oh, yeah, you could come out with stuff every week and stuff like that. But for me, if I was to try to come out with stuff weekly, the videos would be extremely short, like very tiny. Um, the only reason why I was able to get some things done within like a week or two in 21 was because I was jobless at the time and trying to get employed. So it gave me more time to finish up episode 4 at the time. Um, Nowadays it's going to be a lot hard. Nowadays it's a lot harder because I have like other responsibilities and things that I have to do that started up like 2, 3 years ago. I'm spending more time with friends and family than I used to, and um, it makes it hard to work on large projects that consume so much time that would keep me from doing that. But here's the thing. Um, I'd be more than happy to get back to work on the series once I figure out a solution to the loss of the Bahamut model that I was talking about. As a matter of fact, as a reminder, the model is this specific one that you can find on uh, Models Resource, Office Sprites Resource. I know that that's where the model came from, but I don't want somebody to convert me a brand new model altogether because, like I said, um, it's it's not as simple as just putting a new model in because I'd have to. basically graft this model onto an existing animation, which that's not as simple as you'd think it would be. Um, if so, instead, I'm actually going to show you the exact file path on screen that this original model was tied to based on its materials. If anyone happens to have a backup of this workshop file or item, however Steam wants to call it, if any of you or anyone or you know of somebody who happens to have a backup of this specific Mario Sports Mix Bahamut model, I would love to get my hands on it because if I can get my hands on it, this means that production on The Adventures of Wario Episode 5 can continue. It will still take some time for it will still take some time longer for the episode to come out because I haven't worked on it in gosh, like 2 years around the time that the model was lost. If I had to guess how far along the episode is and where it's been sitting at, it's been sitting progress wise somewhere around maybe 54% done, maybe less than that. But yeah, like I said, if anyone can find that model, the backup for it, or somebody has the backup for it, or a backup for it, I should say, I would love to. I would love to. Um, I'd love to get my hands on that model. I'd be able to load it back into my source filmmaker, and uh, I'd be able to continue it. But as it stands, without that model, I can't continue the episode. And like I said before, it would take far too much time to replace him with another dragon. And I unfortunately don't have the time to do that. Um, so yeah, um, I think I've got an idea for an Adventures of Wario short that I could do. But I'm probably not going to start it until I'm done with a 10-page comic that I'm working on, which I'm basically 2 pages away from being finished with that. So I can come out with a Adventures of Wario short once I get done doing that, I guess. But anyway, you guys deserved an answer, so here I am. It took me a little bit to respond to some of the questions and comments that have been popping up in recent days about where the episode is because my webcam on my computer over here doesn't work anymore. I couldn't tell you how that was a thing. So I was waiting for a time where I could get myself a new one, which I got myself a nice little Logitech camera right here that is staring at me. And I was wondering when I'll finally shut my yap and upload this video. So anyway, yeah, that's the situation. Um, I didn't give up on it. Just trying to been trying to figure out a solution. But like I said, if anyone has that backup or knows somebody who has a backup of it, I'd love to get my hands on it. You know how to contact us. It's the email address that's always in our description down below. And like whether it's through Dropbox or Mega Upload or something like that, that'd be fantastic. Um, but anyway, um, yeah, eventually I'll upload something again. Um, if anyone's interested in knowing about my other stuff, um, I mean, I guess I could make a video on that at some point. Also, alongside working on my comics, I forgot to mention I've been building a video game. So that's fun. It's basically been this game, a little fan project called Luigi's Mansion 2D Arcade. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into that game. The game is nowhere near completed, but I've sunk enough stuff into it to where it could act as its own title, as its own standalone complete game right now, if I wanted it to. But as it stands, I keep adding more stuff to the game because that's the magic of working on things like that. I'm on break working on that, of course, because I don't like working on that for a solid, days at a time and burn myself out on that kind of thing because, I want it to be special. I've got also another project in the works that I'm gradually working on from time to time, which is like remaking the entire game of Super Mario Brothers on the NES from the ground up. Um, with what's the word? With the change, with a couple changes in it, of it being a two-player split screen, if someone wants it to be that way, and well, if you play with two players, then it'll be a two-player split screen, so both players can play at the same time and not have to worry about swapping off, um, getting in each other's way, that kind of thing like that. Like you'll be able to play in the same levels and stuff. Um, and there's multiple playable characters. So that's a fun little project that I want to get back to work on too. I've been on break from that one too, mainly because I've been focusing more on my life changes and working on my arts, which yeah, I love my arts. I guess I could at some point talk about my art on this channel if people are interested enough. But anyways, I'm prattling on for far too long. I've got a ton of other things that I've got to do today, such as working on that comic. But anyways, um, yeah, sorry about the lack of information. It's no fun waiting for something and then person working on it never says anything about what the status is of it. I'm not very good at staying up to date on things, unfortunately, outside of outside of my art at least. Um, Good heavens, I talked for 23 minutes. Feels like I've only been sitting here for 10 minutes. Well, anyway, this has been Dark Energy 345 of the MauradingMence channel. Um, Hopefully, I'll be posting something again soon. But anyway, again, sorry about the lack of an episode 5. But that's unfortunately the reality of the situation. Anyways, see you guys the next time I do something, which will hopefully be soon.